Welcome to Private Stories, where people discover who they really are.
It began with a message so short it barely felt real. No punctuation, no emotion, just a sentence that landed like a door slamming shut. I'm leaving, I'm with someone else. That was all. No apology, no explanation, no attempt to soften the blow. Just a cold exit like I was a temporary stop she had already checked out of. I read it again, and again, and again. 8 times, maybe more. She didn't even mention his name, just someone else, as if I was supposed to understand without asking. And the truth was, I did. Her parents had been preparing me for this long before she ever sent that message. Every dinner had turned into a quiet comparison. Logan's doing incredibly well these days. He just got another promotion. His family owns property in Aspen, you know. Logan. Of course it was Logan. Meanwhile, I was sitting across the table trying to look confident while building my startup from a cramped co-working space in downtown Austin. The kind with flickering fluorescent lights and a vending machine that stole your money half the time. But I believed in what I was building. More importantly, I thought we believed in it. I was wrong. Her family didn't care about belief. They wanted evidence, status, stability, something polished enough to show off at dinner parties. And I wasn't that yet. That night I stood in the kitchen holding 2 mugs of chamomile tea, her favorite. I used to buy it in bulk because she said it helped her sleep after long days. One cup steamed gently in my hand. The other sat untouched on the counter, already cooling. She never came back for it. She didn't even pack properly. She left while I was out pitching to a potential investor. Took her essentials, clothes, makeup, her laptop charger, and even the vintage film camera I gave her last Christmas. But she left behind the framed photo of us at Santa Monica Pier, smiling, carefree, real. I stared at it longer than I should have. Then I picked up my phone. I typed a message. I gave you everything, deleted it, typed another. Good luck when he gets bored. Deleted that too. In the end, I sent nothing, because I refused to let her see me fall apart. I turned off my phone and looked at myself in the mirror. Messy hair, hollow eyes, a worn-out t-shirt with a faint stain of her foundation on the shoulder. I didn't just look exhausted. I looked like someone who had lost, and for 2 days I ignored calls. My friend Marcus tried reaching me over and over again. I didn't answer. My landlord knocked about overdue rent. I stayed silent. Even my app, the thing I had poured everything into, started falling apart. A bug slipped through and crashed half the system. I didn't fix it. I didn't care. But on the 3rd morning, something changed. I woke up on the couch, stiff and disoriented. The apartment was quiet. Too quiet. Then I saw it, her mug sitting in the sink, white ceramic, a sarcastic little quote printed on it. "Let the world burn, I'm having tea." I stared at it for a long time. Then I grabbed a marker. Slowly, deliberately, I crossed out one word and wrote a new one above it. "Let the world burn. I'm having revenge." That was the moment everything shifted. Not because I wanted her back. Not because I needed to prove anything to her family. But because I realized something simple, something sharp and undeniable. I wasn't going to beg. I wasn't going to chase. I was going to become something she couldn't ignore. And this time she would be the one watching. I didn't hear from her again, not for weeks. Not a message, not a call, nothing, just silence, like I had never existed. But her social media told a different story. Within days, she had replaced me completely. New profile picture. Her and Logan at a ski resort in Colorado. Matching white jackets, perfect smiles. Too perfect. The captions were even worse. Grateful for new beginnings. Everything happens for a reason. Meanwhile, I was still trying to breathe through the ending. Friends started reaching out. Some out of concern, some out of curiosity. A few with that fake sympathy tone that made everything worse. One of them, Dylan, sent me a screenshot of her latest story. Logan had bought her a car, not something modest. A brand new luxury SUV, still wrapped with a giant ribbon like it was a holiday commercial. I stared at that image longer than I'd like to admit, not because I missed her, but because I couldn't understand how easily she traded everything we had for something that shiny. We struggled together. We built something real. She saw me at my worst, sleep-deprived, stressed, chasing a dream no one else believed in. She held my hand when my first investor disappeared without a word. She told me I was going to make it, that I was different, that I was worth it. I guess belief doesn't feel as good as leather seats and financial security. And the worst part, she used to say she hated that kind of life. She used to complain about her parents, about how obsessed they were with appearances. She said she wanted something real. I gave her real. Too real, apparently. Because the moment life got uncomfortable, she ran back to what was easy, what was approved, what looked good from the outside. For a moment I considered confronting her, showing up somewhere, saying everything I never said, reminding her who I was, but I didn't. Instead, I disappeared, not from the world, just from everything that didn't matter, and I went back to work, not because I was strong, but because it was the only thing I had left. And somehow that was enough to start becoming someone new. The first few weeks were brutal, not in some cinematic, dramatic way, no music, no speeches, no sudden breakthroughs, just repetition. Wake up, open the laptop, fix what broke yesterday, break something else, fix that too, forget to eat, fall asleep on the couch, do it again, over and over. The apartment started to feel less like a home and more like a bunker. The fridge was nearly empty most of the time, expired yogurt, a half-empty bottle of soda, and takeout containers I never finished. I stopped answering messages, missed birthdays, skipped events. If it didn't move my work forward, it didn't exist. At first, nothing changed. The app barely held together. Users came and left. Feedback was inconsistent. Some days I felt like I was building something meaningful. Other days, it felt like I was shouting into the void. But slowly, quietly, things began to shift. A small tech blog mentioned the product, then another. A niche online community picked it up. Then a TikTok creator made a short video about it, nothing huge, just a quick review. That video changed everything. Downloads started climbing. Not overnight, not explosively, but steadily, consistently. The kind of growth you don't notice at first until you suddenly realize it's real. Emails started coming in. Partnership inquiries, investors asking for meetings, the same kind of people who once ignored me completely. I didn't celebrate. I didn't post about it. I didn't even tell most of my friends. Because this was mine, and I wasn't building it for validation anymore. I was building it because I refused to be dismissed again. Months passed, and then it happened. Our first major funding round, 7 figures. I remember sitting in my tiny apartment after the call ended, staring at the wall, trying to process it. No cheering, no dramatic reaction, just silence. Because for the first time, I didn't feel like I was chasing something. I felt like I had caught up to it. The company moved into a real office. Glass walls, clean desks, people walking around who actually worked for me. My name was on contracts, on documents, on a business credit card, my name engraved in silver. I kept running my thumb over it like it might disappear. And then came the billboard. I didn't even choose the location. The marketing agency handled everything. But somehow, almost like a joke the universe was playing, it ended up right in her neighborhood, on a road I used to drive with her family. Back when her parents would politely smile while quietly making it clear I wasn't enough. Now my face was there, larger than life, looking down at traffic like I belonged. I didn't post it, didn't mention it, didn't need to, because I knew she would see it. And she did, a week later. She unblocked me. Then came the likes, old photos, random posts from months ago, breadcrumbs carefully placed like she was testing if I'd notice. And then one night, 1:17 a.m., a message, just one word, congrats. I stared at it for a long time. Then I locked my phone and set it aside. No reply. Not because I didn't have something to say, but because I had already said everything by becoming who I became. That's when I realized something I hadn't expected. Success doesn't feel like revenge, it feels like distance. Around that same time, I met someone. Her name was Claire, and she was nothing like my past. We met at a networking event I almost skipped. I was exhausted, running on coffee and 4 hours of sleep, wearing old sneakers and a wrinkled shirt. I didn't feel impressive. Didn't try to be, but she noticed me anyway, not my company, not my progress, me. Claire had dark brown hair that fell just past her shoulders, usually tucked behind one ear. Her eyes were warm, hazel, almost golden in the right light. She dressed simply. No effort to impress. No performance. just real. We started talking about work, then about everything else. She listened, actually listened, not waiting for her turn to speak, not analyzing what she could gain, just present, and for the first time in a long time. I didn't feel like I had to prove anything, as things with Claire slowly grew into something real. Another message came, longer this time, from her. I drove past your billboard today. You look happy. I'm really glad you're doing well. You always deserved more than people gave you credit for. I read it once, then again, and all I could think was, now you see it, now that it's obvious, now that the world agrees. But where was that belief when it mattered? I didn't respond, because some realizations don't deserve a conversation. They deserve silence. A few weeks later, I started hearing things. Through mutual friends, through quiet conversations. Logan wasn't perfect, not even close. Late nights at work, canceled plans, distance. The kind that slowly eats away at something that was never real to begin with. Then the post stopped. No more smiling photos, no more captions about new beginnings. And eventually, I heard she moved out of his place. Apparently, his family didn't like her anymore. Said she was the right fit. Funny how that works, but I didn't feel satisfaction. No victory, no sense of I told you so. Just emptiness, because by then I had already moved on, not just from her, but from the version of myself that needed her to fail in order to feel whole. Still, I knew one thing: this wasn't over, not yet. Because people who leave for something better rarely expect what they left behind to become greater, and sooner or later, they always come back to see it for themselves. It was a gray Tuesday morning when she finally showed up. The kind of morning where the sky looks unfinished, like someone started painting it and then gave up halfway through. I was at the office, halfway through reviewing a partnership deal when the front desk called. She says she knows you. She's not on the schedule, but she won't leave. I didn't need a name, I already knew. Walking into the lobby felt different than I expected. No nerves, no rush of emotion, no replay of old memories, just clarity. And there she was, Lily, standing near the glass doors in a beige coat that probably cost more than my first year's rent. Her blonde hair was still perfect, soft waves resting neatly over her shoulders. Her makeup was subtle but precise, like always. From a distance, she looked exactly the same, but her eyes, they were different, less certain, less alive. She tried to smile when she saw me. Wow, this place is amazing. I didn't respond. I just looked at her, not with anger, not with longing, just recognition. This was the woman who ended 4 years with a single message. The woman who disappeared into someone else's life without hesitation. And now she stood here like none of that had happened. I was nearby, she added quickly. Thought I'd stop in and see how you're doing. It was such a bad lie it almost impressed me. She planned this, every second of it. I gestured toward a meeting room, not out of politeness, out of control. The last thing I needed was my employees watching this play out like a scene from a reality show. We sat across from each other, same distance, completely different people. She folded her hands together, took a breath. I made mistakes. I said nothing. I didn't realize how much pressure my parents had on me. I thought I was doing the right thing, choosing stability. Still nothing. Logan seemed like the safe option. Everything looked perfect on paper, but it wasn't real. Her voice cracked slightly. I wasn't happy. There it was, the confession, the part where I was supposed to soften, but I didn't, because all I could think about was the silence she left me with. The way she let her parents talk about me like I was temporary. The way she never defended what we had. She kept going. I miss how things used to be. The way we laughed, the little things. She smiled faintly. I still have that awful candle you made me. The one that smelled like burnt cinnamon. I almost smiled, almost. Are you seeing someone? She asked. There it was, the real question. For a second I considered lying, saying no, letting hope flicker across her face just so I could take it away. But I didn't. Yeah, I said calmly. Her name's Claire. She's kind, real. Lily looked down, and in that moment I understood something clearly. She didn't come here for closure. She came here hoping there was still a door open, but all she found was a wall. "Do you hate me?" she asked quietly. I didn't answer right away because the truth wasn't simple. "I don't hate you," I said finally. "I just don't have space for you anymore." Her lips trembled. She nodded slowly like she expected it, but it still hurt. She stood up. No attempt to hug me, no dramatic goodbye, just a quiet exit. But before she reached the door, she paused, turned slightly, looked at me one last time, like she was trying to memorize something she knew she'd never get back. Then she left. And I sat there for a long time after, not thinking about her, not replaying anything, just sitting. Because for the first time since everything happened, I didn't feel like I lost anything. I felt like I had won, not against her, not against Logan, not even against her family, but against the version of myself who would have taken her back without hesitation. The days after that were quiet, no messages, no social media hints, nothing, and for once, silence felt peaceful. Then one evening, as Claire and I walked into my apartment after a long event, my phone buzzed. A message from Lily. No text at first, just a photo. A dimly lit apartment. Half-packed boxes scattered across the floor. A single glass of wine sitting on a table. And then, one line underneath, "I miss feeling safe." I stared at it for a moment and almost laughed, not because it was funny, but because it was predictable. When the excitement fades, when the spotlight disappears, when reality sets in, people don't miss you, they miss how you made them feel. Safe, stable, chosen. I locked my phone, set it down, didn't respond. Claire walked in from the kitchen holding 2 mugs of coffee, smiling like nothing in the world was complicated. And in that moment, I knew exactly where I belonged. The message sat unread in every way that mattered. Not because I didn't see it, but because I refused to enter it. Claire never asked. She never checked my phone, never questioned my silence, never tried to compete with a ghost from my past. That was the difference. She didn't fight for space in my life. She simply belonged in it. A few days later, another message came, longer this time, from Lily. "I keep thinking about the small things. Your stupid morning playlists. The notes you used to leave in my shoes before big days. The way you believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. I don't know why I threw that away. I think I panicked. Everyone kept telling me Logan was the right choice, but he wasn't you. He never could be." I read it once, then locked my phone. Because this time, I didn't feel anger. I didn't feel validation. I didn't feel anything at all. And that's when you know it's over. Not when the story ends, but when the emotions do. A week later, she showed up again. Not at my office, not with a warning, at an event. I had been invited to speak at a rooftop launch party for a fast-growing wellness startup. 5-minute talk, nothing dramatic, just a short piece on resilience, failure, and rebuilding. I almost didn't go, but Claire convinced me. "You've earned being seen," she said. "And besides, let people catch up to who you've become." The venue was exactly what you'd expect. Glass walls, city lights, soft jazz floating through conversations that felt half real, half performance. People who hadn't spoken to me in years suddenly knew my name again. Funny how success rewrites memory. I was standing near the edge of the rooftop, holding a glass of ginger ale, going over my notes. When I heard it, "Daniel." I turned, and there she was. Lily looked different, not worse, just less polished, like she had stopped trying so hard to be perfect, and somehow that made her more real than I had ever seen her. "I didn't think I'd see you here," she said. A lie. My name was on the event flyer. "Small city," I replied. She smiled faintly. "I saw your interview last week. The one where you talked about loyalty, about how some people only believe in you after everyone else does." I said nothing. Let the silence answer for me. She took a breath. "I wasn't ready for what we had," she said. "I thought I needed someone powerful, someone established." Her voice softened, "But what I needed was you." There it was, the moment she probably replayed in her head 100 times. The apology, the realization, the truth. And a year ago, that would have been everything I needed to hear. Now, it changed nothing. I'm glad you figured that out, I said calmly. But you figured it out for yourself, not for us. She blinked, caught off guard. There's nothing left to fix, I added. For a moment she just stood there, processing, adjusting to a reality where I wasn't waiting anymore. And then Claire walked up beside me, effortless, calm, certain. She slipped her arm through mine and gave Lily a polite, confident smile, no tension. No competition, just presence. Lily understood immediately. She didn't need an introduction. I should get going, Claire said softly to me. You're on in a few minutes. I nodded. Lily stepped back. Something flickered in her eyes, not jealousy, not anger, something quieter, regret. It was good seeing you, she said. I gave a small nod. Take care. And just like that, she turned and disappeared into the crowd. No scene, no drama, no second chance, just an ending. Later that night after the event, I found something in my mailbox. A letter, handwritten. 5 pages, front and back, apologies, memories, explanations, regret. One line stood out. I didn't realize I was losing something real while chasing something that only looked perfect. I folded the letter, put it in a drawer. Didn't reply because some lessons don't need answers, they need distance. Life didn't explode after she left, it sharpened, focused, grew. The company expanded into multiple cities, new partnerships, bigger opportunities. A future that once felt impossible now felt normal. But the real change wasn't in my business, it was in my life. Claire stayed through everything, not because she needed to, but because she wanted to. One night I told her everything. The message, the betrayal, the comeback, all of it. I expected questions. Maybe discomfort, maybe doubt. Instead, she smiled, softly. I'm not afraid of your past, she said. I'm just grateful it made space for me. That's when I knew what I lost was never truly mine, and what I found was real. The last time I saw Lily was by accident, a quiet morning, a small coffee shop downtown. I was standing in line, half awake, waiting for my usual black coffee, when I heard a soft gasp behind me. I turned. There she was. She looked smaller somehow, not physically, emotionally, like someone carrying too much regret for too long. You look good, she said, a little awkward, a little unsure. I'm doing all right, I replied. We sat down briefly. She told me how everything fell apart, how Logan treated her like an accessory, how her parents still weren't satisfied, how she felt lost. I know it's too late, she said quietly. But you were the only one who ever really saw me. I looked at her, calm, steady. I did, I said, and I loved you the best way I could. A pause. But you didn't see me. Silence. The man you left, I added. He's not here anymore. Tears filled her eyes. She nodded. This time she didn't try to fix anything, didn't ask for another chance, didn't reach for something that was already gone, and for the first time, she accepted it. I stood up, finished my coffee. I hope you find what you're looking for, I said, and I left without looking back. Now my mornings are quiet, simple, real. Claire makes coffee while I go through new ideas. We argue about small things, laugh about nothing, build something steady. No performance, no pressure, no pretending, just truth. My business is thriving. My mind is clear. My past is closed. And the best part, I didn't need revenge. I just needed to grow. Because the day she walked away, she lost something real, and me, I found everything.
Thank you for watching this video to the end. Visit our channel for interesting and intriguing stories.